Testing, testing. I think you guys can hear me in there. It looks like we're up and rolling. And just like that, we are back again for another video here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Captain Cody Davis sitting down to hang out with you guys again as always. And I just want to start the video off by saying thank you. Thank you for all the support. Thank you guys that have been clicking on the videos consistently and leaving positive comments. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback on the channel as of late and on my social media and stuff. And it's it means a lot. Definitely helps out, and just appreciate you guys. And yeah, keep those positive comments coming or negative comments. It really doesn't matter to me. You guys can say whatever you want. I don't get offended. And there's probably going to be both positive and negative comments left on this particular video I'm about to make, because we're going to be talking about what I think, and probably it's no secret, is the most polarizing topic in the world of professional bass fishing right now. And we're going to be talking about forward-facing sonar. And I know most of you guys are probably just sick and tired of hearing about it, as am I. It seems like for the last 2 years, it's the only thing that's been talked about on podcasts or TV shows or advertisement and commercials. And at the end of the day, every podcast host, every fishing personality, every fishing pro at some point has done a series, a video, a Facebook post discussing how they feel and where they are, where their stance is with the whole forward-facing debate, because it seems like there is no middle ground. You are either totally for it or totally against it, and it's essentially causing a civil war in the world of bass fishing, where I feel like I truly am on that middle road, and that's why I want to make this video. Now, again, I have absolutely no business talking about this. I'm not a professional angler. It definitely, I'm going to say it doesn't affect my livelihood or my line of work, but in a way it does, which we'll get into in the video. But I don't know. I mean, I really feel like there's a lot of people that say I've looked at the data, or I've taken a while before I've commented, but I really don't know if people really have. And I've basically done this video before. We're just going to talk about it again. And, it's more or less like I want your guys' opinions. Like, I'm just curious as to what people think. And I think I know what most of my subscribers and my followers are going to say. I'm going to guess that 85% of you guys are against it. And with, if I had to choose, like if they were like, you need to pick right now, or, life was on the line, I'd say I'm against it. Right. But that's very easy to say coming from me. I fish Lake Okeechobee. I do not have a graph on my boat. All right. I don't have a screen. I don't have a transducer. I have nothing. All right. A lot of people think that I'm kidding when I say that. Like, I mean, the amount of people that have gotten in my boat over the last 4 months and sit behind my console with me and say, you really don't have anything. And then they look up at the front, like, no, I don't have 2D. I don't have sides. I don't have a screen. I don't have anything. I have 4 sitting in my garage in the box I bought brand new, and I just have never installed them. And a lot of my buddies that do that type of work think it's so funny. They're like, you're gone weekends at a time. Like this weekend, I'm going to be in the Keys. Just let me know. I'll come over and install. I'll flush mount the stuff for you. I'll install it. I'll wire it up. And it won't even cost you any time at work because you're gone anyway, leaving the boat here. And I just say, yeah, I'll let you know. And I just never do it. But with that being said, that's another reason why I feel like maybe I should make this video, because it's kind of a outsider's voice. Because at the same time, in the world of professional bass fishing, a big part of me does not think that they should ban forward-facing sonar. Selfishly, as much as I would love them to, at the end of the day, the bigger picture, and you look at the whole scenario, I don't know if that's the right call. Again, and the reason I think, I really think right now the major leagues, as far as Major League Fishing and BASS are really taking this really serious now. I know that they were thinking about it and kind of letting this play out over the last couple of years, but it looks like they're going to make a decision, or I guess they already have. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw change in the middle of the 2025 season. Even um, it's a big topic, right? And it's going to affect a lot of people's livelihoods. It's going to affect a lot of people's finishes and tournament standings, no matter what they decide to do. All right, and there are sorry, I'm coughing like crazy. It's it's like I said, it's causing a civil war. I feel like every time I do a video, I'm suffering from an allergy spasm, and today is no different. God, I can't clear my throat. Anyway, it's I don't know what they're gonna do, and for everyone that says it's not fishing, it's video game fishing, it's taking the skill. Well, before I even get into that, both sides have very strong arguments on their side. All right. And that's what's crazy. And I feel like no one really wants to admit that. I feel like the people that are totally against it, when Ben Milliken makes points, they're like, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an asshole. And then I feel like the new guys that look at the old guy, I don't even want to say old guys, that look at the veterans of the sport that seem to be more against it than for it. They just say they're old men and they don't want to change. But both sides make very good points in their arguments, and I don't know what the right answer is. Um, and people, there's a lot of ego involved, right? We're talking about bass fishing, which everyone who follows the channel knows are my least favorite people in the entire world. I deal with them every day. The amount of ego in this sport is it's disgusting, really. And they're never wrong. They know everything. They think people shouldn't get help. Meanwhile, these same people are asking me for help for tournaments or whatever it is. You know, not even just me, but they're it's everyone gets help. I get help. All right, and I'm not scared to admit it. I don't know what the big my last three trips. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you. I mean, how much I get help right here. My last three trips I've been on have been fairly good. Aside from one that there was just an off day, but the last three trips I've ran, every fish that has come into the boat has been off of a spot, not just a spot, but a group of fish that was given to me by another tournament fisherman and another guide. Um, I was struggling, right? I haven't been able to catch anything, and my buddy Rich Tate, Rich Fishing Charters, I fish against him, but he said, "Man, if you're struggling, you can go right here and do this, and there's a lot of fish there. They're smart, but at least you know you're sitting on them." And that has been the only place I've been able to put clients on fish. And if you guys follow my social media, I don't post these pictures, and I've been having to edit and crop pictures. I don't want people knowing where I'm at. It's been I take when someone gives me information, I take it very serious. Like I I don't want anyone to see me. So even if I go out to start there in the morning and there's boats around, I've been passing it and telling my customer, listen, I've got a group of fish. They were kind of given to me by someone. I don't want anyone to see me. And then been rolling through there when no one's around and catching the fish. But even on my social media, I'm cropping the picture out so you really can't tell where I'm at. And then I've literally been tagging my buddy saying like, thanks for the like, but but I feel like 90% of bass fishermen, if this was a tournament situation, are going to get up on that stage and they're going to say, uh, I worked my ass off. I practiced 3 days. I was out there in the dark. I loaded my boat up in the dark. I only ate 2 cans of green beans and a bag of popcorn because I was stressing so bad about finding these fish, and I finally found them on the last day of practice. And I was throwing a Z-Man jackhammer, but I actually put I put another jackhammer on the back of it without a hook because I can only use one hook. But I put another jackhammer on the back of my jackhammer as a trailer, and no one else was doing that. And that's how I figured these fish out. I mean, it's crazy. Everyone wants to admit or just feel like so many tournaments I've won out here. I have literally gone up. They say, "How'd you find your fish? Did you catch a lot?" I just tell them these fish were given to me. And when I say they're given to me, I'm not calling around. I'm not, putting word out like, "Hey, I need fish." But one event that me and my brother ended up winning, my tournament partner Kelly, he called me the night before. He was unable to fish. His in-laws were in town. He said, "Man, I found a group of them. Go win it right here." And it was a spot. It was like a spot that me and him had fished in the past, a spot that we frequent. And he's like, "Go." And again, this isn't me surveying who's on fish as my tournament partner, but at the end of the day, when we went up, yeah, my shout out to Kelly. Kelly gave me the fish. He found them yesterday. He was unable to fish. There's no like there. If you do that, it's not a big deal. And again, this is not against rules and anything. What we're doing, we're fishing these little $40 tournaments, but um, everyone wants to feel like Kevin Van Dam or feel like just that they know it all and they figured everything out. And that's what's going to happen with this forward facing thing. Everyone feels like they're right. And they are right, a lot of them. But you got to, man, I don't know. It's people really got to admit when someone makes a good point. Um, so, like, there's a lot of drama going on. There's a lot of altercations, not really like physical altercations, but things going back and forth on social media. I'm sorry, I keep touching my face. My face is itching. Allergies. I'm ready for wintertime, even though I'll probably still have allergies. Terrible. I need like a allergy medication sponsorship. But you see like people going back and forth, and I guess in the meetings, people are saying stuff. So one of the most like little viral things going around right now is I guess Matt Airy stood up and said how he mastered live scope in 6 months. He's mastered it. And a professional bass fisherman shouldn't be able to conquer the world kind of deal in 6 months. Ben Milliken stood up on a podcast and said, was the one who, that's how I found out he said it, and kind of made a point. Like he says he's mastered it. How many top tens has he made? But at the same time, Matt Airy is above Ben Milliken in the standings for Angler of the Year. Not by much. I think he's literally one spot above him. But Ben Milliken is up there with notably one of the best live scopers in the industry. So it's like listen, I'm a Matt Airy fan, right? I mean, I am. I think he's been in the game a long time. I'm a fan of him. I mean, I like the guy. I think he's a great fisherman. But to say he mastered live scope in 6 months, let me preference this. I was not in the Bassmaster Elite Series meeting. It's hard to believe, but I wasn't invited. I think like four guys messaged me that I was invited, but I had stuff to do. I couldn't go. But anyway, that's another topic, I guess. But I was not there, so I don't know exactly what was said. But if someone like Matt Airy were to say I mastered it in 6 months, that's crazy. Like that's nuts, right? And contrary to what a lot of people think about live scope, it does take skill, right? It does. Your mechanics, which me and like Matt Weeda need to sit down, Matt W Fishing need to sit down and do a video on this, because this is like me and his pet peeve with bass fishermen. And I think it comes a lot from like our saltwater background, is the mechanics on bass fishermen a lot of times, or now somewhat, not everyone, I'm not generalizing, but some of these guys' mechanics are awful. And what I mean by that is like how they position their body language, how they set the hook, I mean, it's crazy. And how awful out of, not, I'm not naming anyone or not just like on the elites or the Bass Pro Tour. I just mean as a whole, when you watch stuff on YouTube or whatever. But with that technique, your mechanics need to be on, because it's kind of like split second decisions. You got to be able to judge a distance, right? And not only that, just being accurate at reading your screen, knowing what you're throwing at. Um, these guys that could tell you that that fish is over 4 pounds, so I'm going to try and catch it. I wouldn't be able to do that. Now I have, very, very minor experience with forward facing sonar, but at the same time, seeing how good some of these people are with the technology, and that's with anything. That's Brett Height with a chatterbait. That's Greg Hackney with a jig. That's um, whoever. What if you do something long enough, you're gonna maybe not master it, but you're gonna become very proficient with that technique. And at the end of the day, that's really all forward facing sonar is. It's almost like its own technique. It's its own tool. Um, and it's not easy. The fish don't jump in the boat, right? As much as even people like me want to say that, they don't. It takes skill, it takes nuance to do it. And that's why some of these guys are way better. This is what I don't get. I don't get how the leaders in the sport, some of the goats, the greatest of all time, guys that have been in the sport 20, 30 years, that claim to be not the best, but just phenomenal anglers, can go out and say that it's taking the skill out of fishing and it's not fishing, it's easy, it's all this stuff. Well, then why don't they go do it? You know what I mean? Like, why don't, then how come they can't go out and just, if they've been tournament fishing longer than some of these rookies have been alive, all right, so their skill level is way up here. They should be able to pick that technology up if it's that easy and go and literally, like Matt Airy said, master it and outfish the guys below, that are younger than them, that are up and coming with their own technology, and they should be able to do that. But the fact that most of them can't shows that there is a nuance, there is skill involved, um, and it's not what people make it out to be. But on the flip side, for the rookies, and then to not admit and to hold it and be like, nope, it's not. Listen, it is a lot easier for you to make a cast and fish that and present that bait with 100% confidence and work it the exact way you need to, when you can look down at a screen and see real time that there's 15, 10, 5 bass right there that are the size you're looking for, and you can watch their body language as you work the bait, right? If you're giving it fast shakes and erratic action and they kind of turn off of it, you can literally reel it in, throw it back in, and give it a more methodical, slow pace retrieve. And if they act happy to it, then you've figured it out. And let's listen, and this might sting, but you didn't really figure it out. You're full on seeing that this is the deal, right? Color. You might throw a white, shaky head minnow. They follow it, pull off. Follow it, pull, pull off. You put on a more natural green pumpkin shaddy color, and they're all over it. Well, even if they're not even all over it, but if you're getting the bites and you're seeing them initiate and come to the bait more, obviously you're going to keep that color on. You didn't necessarily figure it out. Now you did, your angling made you make the change, your angling experience, but that screen, that data that's relaying right back to you real time is what made you stick with that decision. You know what I mean? Um, and there's just all these little things that both sides have to admit, right? They have to admit to. And is that going to make the decision any easier for either way, whatever they decide to do on the major tours? I don't know. I am very curious to see what they do. Um, there were a lot of these guys are saying, "Oh, well, turns out we didn't know anything about fishing. These older guys, they don't know anything." But Gerald Swindle made a really good quote where when he said that, and he said, if they take that live scope away, you're going to be wanting to go fishing with a lot of guys that you said didn't know anything about fishing. And that quote the other day on Facebook was one that one really stuck with me. Um, and I think that was probably one of the best quotes that's been made about this debate over the last 2 years. Because I really sat there and thought about that. And let me just preference this too. I am a huge Gerald Swindle fan. I think that guy does a lot of great for the sport. And everyone wants to rag on him that he has not won an Elite Series event. Like, I don't know. And someone made a comment. It's like in one of his videos where he wasn't bashing Live Scope, I don't think, but he was venting about it because he's obviously not what you would call a scoper. And someone, everyone was like, "Oh, how about you go win one before you talk," and all this BS. And someone made a comment and said, "It's funny how many people will bash Gerald Swindle for never winning an elite event when these same people are too scared to even go jump in an open." And it's true, right? It's I don't know why I am not a successful YouTuber, right? I'm not. My channel is very small. I can't pay a bill with the money I make off of YouTube, and that's being for real. It's like $150 a month. Um, but I use it as advertisement, and I use it to grow my channel, or grow my business. And same thing with my Instagram and Facebook account. And I'm really learning about the social media thing and how to really not read the comments because and I know you hear people talk about this all the time, but man, there are some stupid people online and people just want to hate. They do. They really want to. And then, as an adult, I'm 32 years old now. There are videos that like I don't necessarily want to make a negative comment on. But I'll catch myself selfly hating on someone. Like someone will post a video and I'll be like, this kook, and then I'll stop myself like, why am I saying that? This guy is not harming anything. His hook set might look funny or his, whatever it might be. But like, stop. He's out there having a good time. He caught a fish. He's happy. Like, people got to stop hating. And it's funny. I just said his hook set looks funny, and that's coming from the guy who does the hook set where I throw it and catch it back. Which those videos have just gone stupid. And that's some of the videos where people are just making ridiculous comments. Like that was obviously like 3 or 4 different types of comments on those videos being made. A is, what's the point of that? The point was it's just funny. It's different. Me and my buddy Connor Porter used to do that all the time, bank fishing. He's the one who originated it. Like I didn't invent that. He did that, but in his pond behind his house with me years ago, and I thought it was funny. So now I just decided to do it on the boat, and it's really not hard. It's not because it takes skill. It's stupid, I agree, but it's funny. And obviously it's catchy because that video has over 3 million views. It's been stolen off my account 40 times and I keep getting tagged in it. All these people, but the comments are like, why would it's stupid? Why would people do that? And then there's also a lot of saying, no, that he didn't actually do that. He didn't do that. He caught the fish and did it in reverse or something. I don't even know what they're saying. But people are so sure of themselves in today's world. It was real. It's not even hard to do. You get a bite. We're on Lake Okeechobee. I understand some of these people making these comments live on lakes where if you get a bite and a half over a weekend, you crushed them and your PB is 2 pounds. I get it. I understand. But we live on Lake Okeechobee where you can find schools of 50 to 100 bass that are feeding. And you could do stupid stuff like that because you've literally caught 60 fish in an afternoon and haven't picked your power poles up, which is what happened in that video. All right. And you just fish mono. Mono stretches, creates the rubber band effect. You throw the rod, it's going to doink and shoot back to you. You grab it and you reel the fish in. Really not that big of a deal, right? but people like to make it a big deal and leave all kinds of crazy comments. But anyway, back. I'm gonna get sidetracked easy. So the thing with like with Gerald Swindle is people they were being all negative towards him, but like that comment he made really like it really stuck with me because there's a lot of pros out there that aren't fans of forward facing, right? But what did they do? There's a lot of them that'll admit, listen, I needed to go get in a boat with someone, not even any of the competitors or on tournament waters, but I got in the boat with younger anglers or anglers that were proficient with the forward facing because I needed to learn it. I needed to learn it. I wanted to see what they're looking at, see if they're looking at things different, right? They went out and played with it on their own boats. Like I'm sure Gerald's out there on Gunnersville, going to areas that he knows are schooling spots, scoping these fish, trying to figure it out. Got to learn it, right? And one thing that, well, and admitting that he needs to learn it. For some of these newer guys to say these guys don't know anything about fishing is bananas. Because if they keep the technology, well, these guys, the not the youth, the elders in the sport, the older generation, the veterans of the sport, that's the word I'm looking for. They're just going to continue to get better with the technology. And when it comes to learning, there's not a much better tool than real-time data. Like he knows like if someone like me who's very new to the technology goes out there, shines, finds 5 fish, throws a drop shot out there, gets a bite and catches a 7 pounder. Well, that's like real time data, right? Like, okay, this is the deal. Like this is, and then those are bass. You can make the adjustments on the fly. You can make your little tweaks and see what works better. And you're getting real time feedback as to the behavior of those fish, the reaction of those fish. Whereas if they pull it away, like you're going to be like, how do I even know if there's a fish there? How do I if I go to this brush or if I throw a you know what I mean? If I throw a, what you call it at this lay down, if I flip a jig in there, how do I know I'm even fishing for a fish? Or if I mark a brush pile and I see there's some dots over it, there's fish on it, but now I throw my pintail minnow, they won't eat it. I'm throwing a Carolina rig. Are they interested in it at all? Am I getting a reaction? That's what makes I say it all the time on Lake Okeechobee. That's what makes guys good. And I feel like that's something that I have in my back pocket is I'm out there every day, right? I'm not a better fisherman than anyone on this lake. I'm not. But I'm out there every day and I feel like I have a really good sense of when to stay and when to go. And I feel like there's certain anglers on this lake that have that as well, and those are the guys that consistently do well because that's all it is. There's no secret spots on this lake. It's knowing when to stay and when to go. And that's something that I think a lot of these veterans of the sport have. They have confidence, right? It's easy to have confidence when you see the fish mauling your bait on a screen, right? Or you're hitting the fish in the face, but to have confidence fishing blind is something that takes time. And you look at all the records, you look at what Kevin did and all these Hackney, I mean everyone, all my favorite anglers did. For people to say that they don't know anything about fishing is nuts. Now I will say that this forward facing technology has shown us things that we never knew existed. And that's something that um, these veterans of the sport need to admit. Mark Zona's done a very good job at that because it's true. It's true. You're finding bass in areas where you never knew they lived, you never knew they went, you never knew they went as deep as they did. And for you to say that no, it's not showing us anything different is nuts. And it's also nuts. I get it for a conservation standpoint, where people are saying those fish need to be left alone out there. That's the reason that's ridiculous. These fish are suspended. We never used to be able to catch those fish, and now we're pressuring them, and they're just going to get predated. Blah, blah, blah. That's I get it. I understand what you're saying, and I agree. in a sense, right? Like I'm my new venture in life right now is bow hunting for deer. Um, I married into a fishing family, but also a hunting family, and I never hunted. Um, my in-laws have some property up in Georgia, and most of you know my wife is gone every weekend during deer season, right? She killed a ton of deer. She loves it. It's great. She got me into it. And although I have shot a few deer with a rifle, if there was the weather was going to be good to fish the lake or there was a small tournament, I would stay home. I would rather fish. Okay. Um, she was gone every weekend, and we were talking one day, and I said, I really think I personally may like hunting. Again, it's another sidebar, but just hear me out. Um, I don't even remember where I was going with this sidebar though. Now I want to save your guys' time. All right, we're just gonna forget that. Well, anyway, I said I might like it more if I. Oh, now I know where I'm going with this. I would like it more, I think, if I used a bow. I was watching the guys on Seek One and watching, I mean, all these different, the Real Tree Outdoors, Michael. I just I love the aspect of hunting, right? I mean, I love the deer hunting thing. I love the feeling you get when they walk out. You know, they don't know you're there, and blah 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 blah. And she bought me a bow for my birthday, which was awesome. And I started shooting it in the yard. And now I'm just totally like obsessed, right? Season's getting ready to show up. I can't wait to get in a tree. And it's a good way for me to unwind, right? Um, but the reason I'm going here is because, on my in law's property, there are certain areas that my father in law has just said, hey, like, we're not putting a stand in here. I'm gonna make a little food plot or whatever, but we're not gonna intrude on this block. And there's a couple of them, like these deer need. Well, I think it's healthier, and you're gonna have better success as a hunter, right? If these deer have like a safe area, right? Like an area they can go bed. Otherwise, if you're just trampling all through the property, they're going to leave your farm and go to the neighbors, right? And that's I'm again, I'm a complete clueless idiot when it comes to hunting whitetails. I think my dog just killed the mailman. But it makes sense to me, right? And I feel like these fish should probably have like a safety or a safe area, right? Which I feel like they're still going to have, even with this technology. But I understand people's arguments on that side. But this is where this is one thing people don't think about, right? If you're going down the lake on Lake Table Rock, throwing a wiggle wart at the bank, right? Down a bluff wall, and you look out there at the abyss and you're like, man, them fish are out there. I know that's where they live, but that's their safe zone. We can't catch them out there anyway. And they came up schooling or Lake Lanier or any lake, right? I don't know, and you look out there to their safe zone and they're blowing herring or shad 3 feet in the air and there's 40 fish. You're not going to go out there and throw a spook on them. You're not going to go do that, right? Because that's their safe zone. So you're going to leave them. You're going to leave them. You're going to leave them there. Or when you're fishing for 100 grand or you're fishing for 300 grand in the classic, and you're up on the bank dragging a shaky head when they take forward facing sonar away, and you look out there to that their safe zone where these fish are untouched and they're schooling. Oh, I can't go out there though. That's their safe zone. And that's something that if they do take it away, I mean that's now I get it. People are gonna say, oh yeah, well they showed themselves. Well, in a way, you could just go roam around out there throwing a suspending jerkbait and come across those schools of fish without forward facing. Forward facing obviously makes you way more efficient at it, okay, and gives you more confidence because you don't have to throw until you see them, right? So you're covering water. You can have the troll motor on 100, scanning around, boom, there they are. So I get it. You're taking the guesswork out, but at the same time, don't give me that it's those fish are in a safe zone. Because if they come up school and you're going, right? Even if they're in 500 feet of water. So I don't know. Again, I'm not on either side of the fence. It's funny. Everyone looks at me and they're like, "I know you want it banned because you're just a up shallow flipper and that's how you like to fish." And but that's not necessarily true. When it comes down to it, here's the thing: people say it doesn't affect me on Okeechobee, Lake Okeechobee. Listen, every tournament over the last 4 months has been dominated with forward-facing sonar on this lake. All of them. It is making its way to Okeechobee, and right now, especially right now, you cannot compete with it. The lake's fishing very tough. These fish are in a really weird funk, very difficult to catch, very difficult to get to eat. Right? You can find them, very difficult to get to eat. And these guys that are good with that forward facing are mopping the floor. You look what Scott Martin did. You know, I'm very curious. Like I know Scott personally. I'm very curious to see like what his take is on it. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to speak for him. I probably shouldn't even say, it, but I think he's like wants it gone. But he's very good with it. I know he rooms with Matt Airy. Matt Airy wants it gone. But Scott is very good. And here's the thing: like Scott's been playing with that technology for since it first came out. He won that. You know, his open win down here was due to forward facing sonar, and he's very good with it. But here's the thing: do I give all the guys on Okeechobee that are winning scoping a hard time? Yes, I do. It's a joke. I always say, yeah, but you know, they had 25 pounds, but remember, every bass caught on Okeechobee with a spinning rod is a pound penalty. So you only have 20. Like I'm always joking. And I've gotten a few seconds here recently and where the leader, the winner of the event was using forward facing. Do I get upset? I'm not going to lie. A little bit of it kind of stings me, but like one of the kids who's winning everything right now, my buddy Kane Weekly, he who listen, I'm not talking bad about. I'm literally if I go snook fishing tonight, I'm probably going to text him and ask if he wants to go. Right, the kid's been getting a lot of haters lately, which is good. That means that you're doing everything right. The kid's just fortunate, and he's able to fish every day, and he goes out there and he puts his time in and works at it. Right, and he's doing very well. He beat me a couple months ago. He had 25 and a half, and me and my brother had 23 and a half or something in a tournament. We got second. And although part of me was like, yeah, but, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, but he was scoping. But at the end of the day, we lost a 6 and an 8 pounder that day. So we should have had 30 pounds and we would have won. But the bites were there for us to win without using scope. We just didn't capitalize. You know what I mean? So it wasn't because of scope that we lost at all. That was just how he was fishing. We lost because we didn't put our fish in the boat. It wouldn't have mattered. And that was like one of his many tournaments. He had one in a row, and people were not giving him a hard time to his face, but people were pissing and moaning that this kid's winning everything. And it was funny. I was having a conversation with his dad, Salt, and we were just talking. I said, if anyone should be mad, it's me. I'm the one who got I'm the one who lost to him. These guys didn't. They were in like 12th and 13th and 14th and 15th place. I lost by a pound and a half or whatever, or 2 pounds. I should be the one that's mad. If anyone is to be mad that he's winning with live scope, it should be me. And I'm not. Because this is the thing. One, he's very good at it. He's mastering the technique. And not just him. I mean, it's funny. I just ran a trip yesterday, 2 days ago, and there was a tournament on a Sunday, and all these high school kids are just running around, and every one of them has scope, all of them, and they're all good with it. So it's like they're all just learning it, right? They're picking up on it so fast, but there is nothing besides money, but that's stopping everyone, right? There is nothing stopping me from ordering a transducer and a 12-inch screen for the front of my boat. I can have it. I can have it, and I choose not to. So that's not the person who has its fault. I can go have it. I can learn it, and I can be right there with those guys doing it. But I just choose not to. But whose fault is that? Mine. In a way, it's mine. I'm an idiot. I'm stupid. I should get it. I should send emails. I'm a full time guy at Okeechobee. Blah, 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 blah. Give me a 10% off code. Purchase it. And I just don't, because it's one of those things where we're going to go back to deer hunting. I want to fish how I want to fish. I'm not fish. I am fishing for a living, but I'm not fishing competitively for a living. And I want to do what gets me excited. Right? Going back to the deer thing, shooting a deer with a rifle it's awesome. It's a cool experience. It's great. It's everything. I'm not knocking it, but I like shooting the bow. Now I'm going to be point blank with you guys. I've only shot one deer with a bow. It was a doe, and we never found it because the deer took a step as I let go of my release, and I hit her in the guts, and we never found her. But since then, I have been shooting my bow every day. Don't want that to happen again. But that feeling of that deer being at 20 yards with a like, I just like everything about it. Same thing goes when you transpire that to fishing. Is not just scope. When it comes to tournaments, I tell everyone I'm going to do whatever it is I need to do um, to to win, right? To catch fish, whether that's dead stick a worm, throw a drop shot. If I think I'm going to win doing it, I'm going to do it. But when it comes to like fun fishing, you guys see in my videos, I bring 3 flipping rods and a frog rod, and I go fishing. And if I catch 3, that's great. If I catch 30, that's great. But I want to catch them the way I want to catch them, the way that I have fun. And even though in a tournament situation, I feel like I need to do whatever I need to do to win, I hate throwing a rattle trap. I'm going to do everything in my power to find fish that I don't have to throw a stupid rattle trap. I don't like doing it. It doesn't. Now you catch an 8-pounder on anything, it's great, right? But like I don't necessarily want to do it. There's times I have to, but I try to avoid that. Even with something like a chatterbait, it doesn't. I like power fishing, and I don't know. That's why I haven't got live scope. I just feel like I don't, because I'm gonna try and avoid using it. I'm never gonna get good at it. I'm probably never gonna turn the thing on, besides guiding, and it's a waste of money. One of my good buddies has it on his boat, who's an Okeechobee hammer out here, and he has it on his boat, and he does not turn it on. He's like, I literally traded a job for the stuff, but he will do everything in his power to not use it. He wants to flip a jig, throw a frog, and rip a chatterbait, right? And he doesn't want to use it. And that's just what it is. Fishing's my hobby, right? Fishing's my passion. So I don't want to go have to use a technique or perform my passion or a hobby in a way where I don't really want to do it. And that's not knocking anyone who's scoping. That's not knocking anyone who enjoys live scope, anything. That's just a personal thing. So I don't know. That's it. I don't know. So at the end of the day, I have no idea what's going to happen. Um, it's kind of weird though to see this like civil war in the sport when everyone's right, everyone's wrong. I don't know. If they, like I said, if you put a gun to my head, you need to pick. I wish it would go away. I just think it's more exciting to watch. And you're going more off instinct, and you are going more off of confidence, self confidence, and decision making when you don't have real time data being relayed to you. And at the top level of the sport, probably where it should be. But at the end of the day, when you're on the top level of the sport, you should have the greatest and latest technology that's out and available to you. So I don't know what the right decision is going to be. Um, and again, I'm not hating on the technology. It's amazing. It's great. People have crushed it with it. They're very good. But I will say this: I feel like there are people on tour that would not catch a bass without it. But I feel like there's some that would be perfectly fine if it went away. I don't know. we'll see. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. I'm curious to see what my subscribers, my followers think what needs to be done. Um, Here's the other thing, real quick, before we're going to end on this. What a big thing that scares me is, I've said it before, if they take this away, what's next? They remove the forward-facing sonar from your boat. Now you can't use power poles next year. Someone wins 4 tournaments in a row bed fishing, and he has, you know, the pole down. Or are they going to? I mean, everyone has power poles, but I mean, there's really it's all the same. Oh, they're going to ban Greg Hackney's PB&J 3/4 ounce jig because he won 9 events next year on it. Um, you know what I mean? Like, or it's going to be a bait. It's always going to be something. Like, even with the Alabama rig, I don't think they should have banned that. All this BS of, oh, it caught everything, but that's great and all. But you still had to find the fish to win. And at the end of the day, if there were 80 people in those tournaments, that lure was available to all 80 anglers. And there was going to be tournaments where it didn't set up where an Alabama rig was going to win. And they did something else too. My mind's drawing a blank, but there was another like bait. But I don't feel like they should have banned the Alabama rig. I don't. And that's where this is going to go. This is a very slippery slope because it's one of those things, whether it's in fishing, it's in politics. If you give them an inch, next thing you know, there's not going to be braided line allowed. No braided line. Nope. Nope. Suffolk is going to come out with braid that is made out of titanium string, and it's the diameter of 30-pound braid, but it breaks at 400-pound. And people that are sponsored, they're going to only give it to it's going to be a prototype for a year. So only people that are sponsored by Suffolk are going to have it available to them, and they're going to catch everything that swims, and then they're going to ban braided line. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds crazy, but that's what's going to happen. Also, I'm going to end on this as well. The reason I make this video also is because I am not for it or against it. But this is coming from a person who legitimately does not have a screen on his boat and fishes 5 days a week for a living, in a sense. I tournament fish. I fish the BFLs and the Toyotas. And I guide, right? Which to me is more stressful and there's more on the line than tournament fishing. Someone's giving me their hard-earned money to put them on fish. That's a big pressure aside from me from saving some money to go have fun and putting it in a tournament and going to gamble it. I do not have a graph on my boat. I haven't for 6 years. I just go fishing. How do I learn the lake? Well, when I rip my lower unit off somewhere, I remember there's a rock there. Learn it the hard way. And I feel like anyone who is against, and this is gonna cause a lot of debate in the comments, but if you have a screen of any kind on your boat, you cannot bash forward-facing sonar. Because all it is, it used to be a flasher. It was a flasher. And funny enough, a flasher is more potent than a 12-inch Garmin. That was real-time technology as well. Now, you couldn't tell how big the fish was, or you could, but it was a dot, not the outline of a fish. But you see the gradual, improvements on these units, and that's all this technology is. I mean, side scan and down scan is so good now. I mean, you could see that the tires that you're marking on the bottom still have tread on them. All right. Yes, you spin the boat around, you waypoint it, and you cast to it. If there's fish on it, you're not getting real-time feedback, but you can count that there's 9 fish on that tire. There's 9. And they're most likely bass because there's shad around and what have you. There's 9. I mean, that's crazy impressive in itself, and be accurate to it. So this is nothing but the next step in technology. And by the time my son is my age, I mean, whether or not it's going to be available, I don't know. But the technology that they'll have by then is going to make this forward facing live scope crap look like a flasher, the original flasher. That's how fast the technology and development is going on. So just think of that. Like, people say, oh, 2D is different. It is, but that's just because it's older. It's it's really in essence almost the exact same thing. And Randy can say all he wants, oh, side scan's different. That's even more impressive to me, side scan, than forward facing. You're shooting 100 feet off each side of your boat, marking everything that there is to mark, looking under docks for snook, or for, in this case, for bass, and you could spin around, set up on them, and catch them. I don't know. Leave it with that. Let me know what you guys think. I don't care either way. It doesn't. It doesn't. I'm not going to think less or more of you as a person with your answer. I'm just very curious to hear what you guys think about everything. Think you should go? Do you think they should keep it? Before you answer, really try to look at the whole picture, the big picture, and how this will really affect the world of bass fishing. I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys subscribing. Do me a favor. I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers. My ADHD is just like bugging me. So 5,000 subs is the goal. Like, even if you hate me, if you think I'm an idiot, like and subscribe. Do me a favor. And book a trip. Fish, we're getting ready to get into where it's going to cool down. We're going to start having some spawning action here on Okeechobee. I'm I'm excited for cooler weather. So give me a call sooner than later. March, April, and May is getting a lot of attention already because those 3 months are the deal on Okeechobee anymore. But if you want to roll the dice, January and February are phenomenal if you get lucky and you just don't get hit with a cold front the day of your trip or 2 days before, or you know what I'm saying? You can get there right before a front or 2 or 3 days after. The fishing can be phenomenal. So, and it is phenomenal. So let me know. Just shoot me a text and we'll get you in the boat. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.